Mums with Hustle podcast, episode 476.
Welcome to the Mums with Hustle podcast, where you'll discover everyday mum entrepreneurs killing it in their industry. Learn the secrets you can replicate to create your own success with your host, Tracy Harris.
I'm hosting an event in Sydney on the 28th of March, and this is an event all about increasing confidence in women and in female entrepreneurs. And so I thought, well, why not jump on the podcast today and share a little bit about confidence and specifically diving into your confidence when it comes to Instagram, you showing up, you speaking up, and you selling boldly. So that's what we're going to dive into today. But if you are interested in coming along to the event that I am hosting in collaboration with Forever Projects and in collaboration with Canva at the Canva space in Surrey Hills, Sydney on the 28th of March, it goes from 4 till 7 p.m. It includes some mingling, some socializing, and some facilitated sessions hosted by myself. There's even an amazing panel of female business owners and leaders. I'd love for you to come. Just email us hello@mumswithhustle.com to learn some more information. It's small, it's intimate. Tickets are only $30. Come along. This is a room that you want to be in. You can also just go to tracyharris.co/foreverprojects. So it's TRACY harris.co/foreverprojects to grab your ticket. I can't wait to see you there and get a selfie. So yeah, the theme of that event is confidence more broadly. But here on the podcast, I thought that we would speak specifically about how you can increase your confidence when it comes to showing up, speaking up, and selling more boldly on Instagram. Because if you are hesitating to show your face or to share your voice and your opinions, or maybe you are someone that can second guess their content, or maybe you avoid selling because you don't want to come off as pushy, then this episode is for you. And what I want to start off by saying is, gone are the days where Instagram is just all about the aesthetic and curation and things looking overly branded. It is not about that anymore. 2025 and beyond is about more connection. It is about being a leader, standing for something, and it is about cultivating trust with your community. So today, I'm going to be offering to you a bit of a confidence blueprint to start showing up and selling more boldly on Instagram. And so I thought I'd kick off with some of the biggest confidence killers on Instagram and why women hold back on Instagram. So these are the top reasons. Now, I'm not going to be sharing with you all of the reasons ever, but over the past 10 years of coaching and mentoring literally thousands upon thousands of women in business from all kinds of niches and industries, and also from being a female entrepreneur myself. And if I think back to the starting place of, you know, who I even was when I was jumping on Instagram 10 years ago and starting to build a profile for myself, I didn't have a business background. I was just exiting my career as a teacher. My identity was still very much in that. It was considered cringe to have an Instagram account and share pictures of yourself and share captions about your story. Like, some people are feeling so uncomfortable about that, and it's 2025 where this has come so far. 10 years ago, it was, oh, wow. Like, the negative things and opinions that people had on anyone that was daring to publish any content online or be a blogger or, heaven forbid, be an influencer and take up space. There was so many Judge Judys out there. But it doesn't mean that it's not still terrifying today, right? For some people, especially if you're new to that, especially if you are a millennial or if you are a Gen Xer. It can be really difficult for you to show up on social media, and that is because you were raised in an era and in a time where social media and presence online like this did not exist. It was reserved Well, it didn't exist for general people like us. It existed for celebrities. But just for little old me to be getting online and sharing my points of view or my unpopular opinion or how I overcame this. And it's just like, oh, so many of us carry such unhelpful narratives, but it's reinforced by people within our generation, right? Our peers, our family, our colleagues. It's real. There's a lot of people out there that still feel super uncomfortable about it. From the perspective of, well, if they were to go and do this, heaven forbid, what does that mean about them? But then here you are, being so public, growing your personal brand, putting your thoughts, your products on the internet. People are watching and people are judging. So I think that's the first one. Let's just address the elephant in the room, which is that the biggest confidence killer on Instagram, the thing that holds a lot of women back, is a fear of judgment. It's this fear of, what if people criticize me? What if my friends or my family see this? Well, I think that there does first and foremost have to be some acceptance of, well, some people are going to judge, and in a negative way, right? Not everyone is going to come out and acknowledge that they've seen your stuff and celebrate you or affirm you for whatever you just shared. They will likely just say nothing. So you know this. You've got people that observe you, but they don't press like, they don't leave a comment, like they're just observing, right? And then there are other people that maybe are judging. They're not saying it to your face, but they're judging, and that's okay. There has to be some release of the fear of being judged and some release of needing to be in control of the narrative that other people choose to hold about you. You're not in control of that narrative. And I can say this because I feel like it's been 10 years. Like I don't even know how many pieces of content I have shared on the internet, on various platforms. If you combine that with the podcast, oh my gosh, it's a lot. So people are going to see, people will likely have a judgment. You're not in control of the judgment if it's a positive one or a negative one. But what we need to release is the need to control everyone's narrative and their judgment of us. Just accept that not everyone is going to get it. Not everybody is your audience, and it is okay. What if people criticize you? What if? Does it actually matter? Really? Does it? Whose opinion matters so much that it has the right to stop you from showing up and building a beautiful business and brand and sharing your message? Like, how much weight are you giving to the opinions of others? And who are these people? Like, do they really matter in the grand scheme of things? Will you cope if you're not liked? Or is that something that you've got to work on at the moment, you know? And trust me, you can get from a former people pleaser, and sometimes I still default into my people pleasing mode, but I catch it. But from someone who identifies as like, yeah, my personality for so long was to people please and to fear judgment of others and to just really crave acceptance and praise and all those things and to not ruffle any feathers. So for me, like, if the thought of anyone criticizing me, it just felt so big. It felt so scary. It did feel like worst case scenario. Sometimes it felt like death, but then really when you think about it, it's not. And who are we choosing to honor in that moment? Are we thinking about those people that may or may not be judging? Are we thinking about ourselves, which is just our ego? Or are we thinking about who we could help if we showed up today in our most real, passionate, maybe ranty, opinionated way? Because here's something that I've come to learn. I would rather be judged for having an opinion and being myself than not be judged at all, but live a very suppressed existence, or an existence where I just showed up as a version of who I thought I needed to be in order to be liked and be accepted. That sounds like torture to me. So when I talk about freedom on the podcast or in my content and in my programs, I'm not just talking about like, work from anywhere, be financially free. I'm talking about the little day-to-day actions where we keep ourselves stuck. Like one major area where you can create more freedom for yourself is to fear judgment less, because it is a confidence killer on Instagram. But just even in your life, fearing judgment from who? They're not that important. You know, let's shift our focus to how we're helping people. That's what's the most important thing. So that was number one. The fear of judgment is a major confidence killer for women marketing on Instagram. The second one is comparison paralysis. You know, where you like scroll and you look and you're like, oh, her content is so good. Mine isn't as polished. Oh, look at what she's wearing. Oh, her outfits are always like so put together. Or her house is fancy. Her studio looks nice. And you can get this inferiority complex. It can even zap your creativity because you've spent maybe the morning scrolling on Instagram, looking at other people's content and how slick it is. And now you're doubting your message and you're feeling a little inferior about how you were going to show up today. But you know what? You have the advantage. Authentic, imperfect, messy content is actually where it's at in 2025 and beyond. So if you are someone that is like, the perfectly polished look is just not something that is even within your financial means or within like maybe you've got time limitations around being able to create content. Well, guess what, girlfriend? That is working in your favor because we are entering the more authentic, messy era of content. Do you know what is the most popular style of video at the moment? It's like a FaceTime style video, like where you're walking around, you're holding your camera, but you're kind of holding it and moving around at the same time, like you would if you were FaceTiming your mum or FaceTiming a friend and you're just having a catch up. Like the angle doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to look perfect. The background doesn't have to be perfect. That ability for you to look into the screen and just connect and talk as a person, that without it needing to be like either scripted or you sitting in a fancy chair with a expensive podcast mic in front of you and perfect studio lighting, like that is just not necessary. You get to create content. You live in this era where that is not necessary. How cool is that? So that's the truth. So no need for that comparison paralysis. But do you know what? Something that you can do if you are someone that wakes up in the morning and before you've even created any content, you are there and you're having a cheeky scroll and you're already starting to compare yourself to others and the inferiority complex over your content or your writing style or your voice or your message and your aesthetic. If all of that is starting to make you doubt and question the content that you wanted to share today, you need to nip that in the bud. Like you need to get rid of the habit of picking up your phone in the morning and scrolling before you create anything. So I'm going to invite you to create a new habit for yourself. You don't get to scroll Instagram or TikTok until you have created and published your content for the day from your imagination, your creativity. That is an invitation to you. Once you've done that, now you can scroll. You can engage on people's stuff. You can have a little look. You can look for inspo if you want. But some of you, like the inspo is killing your confidence game. Maybe we need to be scrolling less for inspo and trust ourselves more. Okay, so that was number 2, comparison paralysis. That's what that was. Number 1 is fear of judgment. Number 2 is comparison paralysis. Number 3 is the fear of selling. Oh, so many people, they're on Instagram because they want their business to grow, but they've got a fear of selling because, again, it's public. And there's this energy of, I don't want to seem pushy or desperate or even embarrassment. You know, maybe you use a call to action for someone to comment a particular word, and that's how people can visibly see that people are interested in your product. And maybe you feel a little embarrassed because no one's commenting the word. Or maybe you don't want to talk so boldly about your product or your service. And so you hold back because, again, you don't want to seem pushy or desperate. Guess what that one is attached to? It's attached to the fear of judgment. It's attached to the, what are other people going to think of me? What if I seem pushy to other people? So there are some ways to reframe this, but selling is serving. If you don't share your products, your services, your knowledge with other people and let them know that you have a thing that can help them, that is more selfish than anything else. So a great way to reframe that is to stop thinking about yourself and think about how you are in the business of helping people. That's what selling is. How annoying is it when you are struggling with something, or maybe you need something, right? You desire something, and then there's a shop or there's a person that really has the thing that is the solution to your problem, or it's going to save you time, or it's going to make you money, or whatever it is. And they just don't tell you about it, and they don't tell you how you can get it. They're gatekeeping. That's annoying. You don't like that. No one likes that. But somehow we get in our heads and we rationalize that it's okay for us to do that. And we say, oh, but I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be desperate. You are in the business of selling, which is in the business of serving people. That is your business. So if that is a fear, we've got to get to the root cause of that. And I am willing to bet it's some kind of fear of judgment or rejection that you're really afraid of. All right. So we're going to reframe that to I am serving. Selling is serving. I'm going to give you a little action step. If that's feeling a little stretchy for you, I want you to do one post today. I don't care if it's a single image or if it's a carousel or if it's a reel, like you choose, whatever, doesn't matter. But I want you to have a very clear call to action on that piece of content today. And it can be as simple as saying, comment yes if you want this freebie, or comment yes if you're ready to take the next step, or comment yes if you'd like to book in for a coaching call, or comment yes if you'd like to, I don't know, get one of the first 30 of these pairs of earrings, whatever it might be. But start posting a very direct, clear call to action. Do that on your next piece of content. And the next thing that I want you to do is, can you, for the next 7 days, hop on your Instagram stories and talk about your offer daily? Even in just like very small, simple ways. I was chatting to a female entrepreneur the other week, and she is hosting her first retreat. It's coming up later this year. She's hosting her first retreat. And she's so excited. She's sold 2 places in that retreat. But then she's like, but then it's been crickets. And so I just said to her, well, have you been talking about it? She's like, no. Okay. Well, that's why. That's why you haven't sold anymore. You haven't been talking about it. So whether it's a retreat or a course or a service or a physical product, it doesn't matter. You need to get into the habit of talking about your offer daily, even in small ways. It can be a small mention in your Instagram stories. It can be a, guess what's coming up in my membership next month? I just put the finishing touches on this new resource or this guide or this masterclass, or I just recorded this thing. Or talk about your people, talk about the wins that people have just experienced inside of your course. Maybe you're up to module 4 inside of your online course, and, share a little bit about behind the scenes of that these count as mentions. So talking about your offer daily. I encourage you, and I know most people listening to this episode are not going to do this, but that matches the statistic of most people in business don't actually stay in business. So if you want to stay in business, and not just stay in business, but if you want to thrive in business and take your business to the next level, then you need to become the person who does the things that the majority of people don't do. So I'm giving you an invitation. Write down on a piece of paper numbers 1 to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are a list of 7 things over the next 7 days that you can show up on your Instagram stories and give your products a mention every single day. How can you mention your product in 7 different ways in your Instagram stories? How can you do that? You need to practice talking about your offers, because if you want to start experiencing more sales, then you need to become really good at talking about those offers. It can't be rambling. If you want to dial your messaging in and talk about it with greater clarity and have people just so inspired to click that link button or send you a DM, take my money. How do I get this thing? Sign me up, please. That comes from your skill, which is developed through your practice and your confidence. So you're not just going to be confident, you're going to develop your confidence because it's a muscle. So you're going to practice. So will you do that? 7 days of showing up on your stories and in every single one of those stories for the next week, mentioning your offer in any way you like, but you're going to mention it. So important. That challenge is there for you. And that is how you're going to pattern interrupt the fear of selling. All right. The fourth and the final confidence killer on Instagram that I'm going to dive into here for you today is overthinking and perfectionism. You know, how many times do you say, or maybe you hear other people say, oh, I'll post when I feel more ready. I have got incredible entrepreneurs, men and women that are in my community. They message me, they tell me, you know, that they're busy working on an online program behind the scenes and like, you know, they're not ready to start posting and building a community yet because maybe they're still going through their certification to become qualified, or maybe they're still building their digital product behind the scenes. Their plan is to post about it when that thing is done, or to post about it when they've got their certification, or to start building their audience when they feel more ready. What? Wait. I know that logically, well, actually, I don't even think that works logically. That does not work logically for my brain, because you need to have an audience already there for when you have the thing to sell. But people are doing this all backwards. People are going out and they're getting their health coaching certification, or they're becoming a fashion stylist, they're doing that certification, or, you know, whatever it is. And then they're like, okay, I've got my certification, I'm going to create my digital product. And then maybe they create their digital product and then they come out and they have got no one to sell it to. Then they're like, okay, now I'm going to start, I feel more ready. I feel ready to start sharing it with the world. But the problem is now that you haven't built an audience, or you haven't allowed yourself time to find your brand voice, or to confidently show up with messaging that lands. All of this stuff takes time to discover and to dial in. Like, you're not just going to have your certification or create your online course or your membership and then instantly receive the gift of confidence and clarity of messaging and perfect audience of soulmate clients. That stuff doesn't arrive. That stuff has to be built, and it takes longer than you think. The overthinking and the I just need to get my ducks in a row and the perfectionism, that can't come with you on this journey. We're never going to feel ready. If you feel ready, you left it too late. That's a bit of a red flag. Confidence doesn't come from waiting until you feel ready. It comes from taking action before you feel ready. That is your sign to press go. It's like do I feel confident? No. Okay, it's go time. That's the sign. Not do I feel confident? Yes, I feel so ready. No. Do I feel confident? No, I don't. Okay, that's my cue to make moves, and to make moves consistently. So you're going to take messy action, because messy action is your new superpower. No longer is your superpower overthinking and perfectionism. No, messy action is your new superpower. Now, if this is you, what you can do is take one imperfect piece of content and share it today. Maybe you have something in your Instagram drafts and you're just like, I'm just going to share it. Maybe you're going to set a timer for 15 minutes and you're going to challenge yourself to create a reel with a caption and a text hook on screen, and you're just going to share it. When that timer goes 15 minutes, that's it. That post is going. You don't get to sit there procrastinating in overthinking and perfectionism. You're going to share the reel. So you're either going to share something imperfect from your drafts. You're not going to finesse it anymore. It's about getting it out there. This is, again, it's another form of a pattern interrupt for those of you that are held back by overthinking and perfectionism. Get it out there. You got to break this cycle of sitting in perfection. Remember, confidence is built in motion. So starting to say to yourself, I am here to learn and improve, not to be perfect. I am here to learn and improve, not to be perfect. Because the more you post imperfectly, the faster you're going to learn, the quicker you're going to get at it. There's more to gain from posting imperfectly. So messy action is your superpower. You know, these sorts of conversations, this sort of coaching and these sorts of action steps, this is exactly what we do inside of my Social Method Society every single month. And if you want to increase your capacity for greater levels of confidence on Instagram so that it actually builds your business, then the Social Method Society is where you need to be. You will get monthly Instagram plans. You will be able to join in on our implementation challenges. Coming up, we've got an implementation challenge all around vlog carousels, which is one of the easiest ways to get reach and get in front of a new audience at the moment. So I'm teaching my ladies in the Social Method Society about that, but I'm not just teaching them, I'm giving them the action steps and an implementation challenge so that they actually do the work and grow. In the Social Method Societies where you surround yourself with supported, like-minded women who are giving feedback to each other, taking bold actions together. It is a really healthy environment for you to stretch yourself in, alongside other people that are doing this too. It's where you can receive real feedback on your content, on your marketing, get coaching from me in our monthly Q&As. So if you want to get on the wait list for the Social Method Society, just go to socialmethodsociety.com, get on the wait list, or email us hello@mumswithhustle.com. Say, I'd love to get on the wait list for that program, please. It's definitely something that I need. We will put you on the wait list for that. Okay. So if this episode resonated with you, amazing. Can you take a screenshot of wherever you're listening? Maybe you're listening in Spotify, in Apple Podcast. Take a screenshot and share it to your stories and tag me at Mums with Hustle and tell me what's the bold action that you're taking today. Did you love this episode? Are you going to be doing the 7 days of Instagram stories where you talk about your product every single day in some capacity? Are you going to take messy action and share something from your drafts, or set the 15-minute timer and create a reel without overthinking it? What are you doing? Let me know on Instagram stories, and I would love to share some of those on my own Instagram stories throughout the week. But thank you so much for joining me here on this episode. I am so here to see you showing up on Instagram, showing up more, speaking up more, selling more boldly in 2025. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week on the Mums with Hustle podcast.